Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Book Boozled. We are covering A Touch of Ruin today. But before we get into it, Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Kat. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Nothing to complain about.
It's summer. It's always nice, so you can't complain about summer, right?
Yes, it is summer. My 9 to 5 is getting in the way of my outside time. So I'm really trying to balance that out. Maybe do some work outside.
I think
But
that's how everybody's feeling right now.
I know. I've got I've got Snapchat from like 3 people a day being like, I'm working on my back porch. I'm like, do it. It is nice outside.
Yep. I love to sit my computer on my little outside table and work out there, but a little too muggy for me today. This is the
Yes,
only time of the year where I envy the school teachers.
I know. I know. I'm like, I would kill to have a summer break again. I would, but then I'd have to be a teacher, and I do not have the patience for that. Absolutely not. Good for if you're a teacher, bless you, because I am not cut for that lifestyle.
Good for you. Keep doing you boo boos.
Yes. I will stay here in my 9 to 5, which I hope to
Your
get rid of
patience
one
is
day.
thinner than a Pringles chip.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not have the patience for that. So,
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. Touch of Ruin, book number
yes.
2 of Touch of Darkness, Hades and Persephone's story. If you guys have not listened to the last episode or have not read book number 1, I highly suggest you go backwards an episode and go check out A Touch of Darkness first. Really hard not to do any spoilers on book number 2 for this at this point. So if you haven't
Yes.
taken a time to go look at that, scroll on back and we'll keep going forward here.
Yes, I agree. There's not a whole lot. If you've not read A Touch of Ruin, we will probably only have a couple minutes worth of non-spoiler content because it really is. I mean, it's hard. I mean, we see the same characters. We have obviously Hades and Persephone, and Demeter and all the other gods and the friends, and it's just kind of you see everyone grow a little more. So you see,
Persephone grow crazily. Like her character development is really great. Her
mhm.
magical development is really great.
Yes, I mean, I flew through it. I loved it. It's super easy read. I rate it a good, 4.25, 4.5. So I highly recommend it. There is a whole, again, not a whole lot I can say that does not give away
Right. I
because it,
definitely agree. I read this book probably in a day and a half.
mhm.
Um, so for those of us that are speed readers, I would give it less than 2 days to read. So people that read slower probably give it 3 or 4 days. It's a
Mhm.
pretty quick read in a good way. Um, Fast moving, good topics, not too in depth about little things that don't matter. It's a pretty good little fast read. I like it.
Yes. Yeah. Scarlett, she's a great author. I really like the way she writes her books. Um,
It's also like the first one. It is not a historically accurate book for those of us who are historians. It's really fun. It's just a book based off the idea of Hades and Persephone. So it's
mhm.
nothing that's going to be too crazy involved between the two of them that is accurately depicted from history. It's just going to be the basics of what we do know, tied in with a bunch of new age ideas as well. So,
Yes. Yeah, it is loose. It is Greek mythology names and characters, but it is not.
it is an interpretation.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like if they were still alive today. It's not an accurate, it's not a retelling. It is a new telling in modern day what these people would be doing with technology and how the world works right now. So, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't think I have anything else to say that is
I was
not a
about to
spoiler.
say, with that, if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to go on and hop off. We are going to get into the nitty gritty details, and I am super excited to go over some things with you, Kat. We haven't talked about this between the two of us at all yet, so
No,
Super
not at
great
all.
book. Very cat and mouse game with multiple different
Hmm.
characters, multiple different people, multiple different gods, lots of games, lots of favors in this one, lots
Yes.
of play on words. So if you're interested in those kinds of things, definitely go take a read.
All right. I'm ready.
Let's get into it. I
Oh,
love this book. I want to start with a couple people. And
okay.
I'm going to go with first, Lexa.
I know. I know. I almost ruined it for you last week because I have already read the Hades and I had already read this one and I almost let it spill.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
stop myself, but that one hurt.
It
That
really,
one,
I'm really sad about how Lexa ended it too. Like, I really wanted her to try hard. She only tried for like 2 days, I feel like. Which, to people who are listening, suicide is nothing to joke about or to judge on other people's past, but I was really sad for her character.
I know. Yeah. So if you have read or if you haven't read and you're listening to spoilers anyway, Persephone's best friend Lexa is hit by a car and is put in the ICU. And Persephone goes and begs with Hades to save her, to trade, to barter with the fates. And Hades is like, no, I can't do that. Like, it is up to Lexa what she wants to do. If she wants to fight to live, she will. If she is ready and her work is done, that is up to her. And Persephone does not accept that. She is grieving. She is dealing with her emotions in the only way she knows how, which is not because she did not have a good emotional support system growing up. So she goes to Apollo, who is god of healing, and she makes a deal with him that she will be his friend, companion, whenever he wants her to be there. And in return, he heals Lexa. But Lexa did not want to be healed. He only healed her body. She was ready to go to the underworld, but because
Her
she was
soul was
forced,
split, pretty much.
yeah, so because she was forced back into the world when she was ready to die, she was miserable. She was a shell of herself, and she ended up killing herself. And when you do that, you go to a different part of the underworld where you drink
Elysium.
and you forget about your upper world experience. So instead of being in the underworld and being able to continue, being friends and having all of her memories because Persephone went above Hades to save her, she now does not remember her best friend.
Or anybody, or herself. Um,
Yeah.
so drinking the Lethe makes her forget everything.
Hmm.
Whereas if Persephone had let everything stay, she would have been in Asphodel Meadows, and she and her could have continued on with their friendship and their normalcy as like they would have in the upper world, just
Yep.
a little less modern day.
That really did frustrate me. Persephone, like, I mean, I have never had a close friend pass, but reading it, I was like, you're acting like a child.
I agree, but as someone who has lost quite a few people close to them, well, not quite a few, just a couple, um, or people around me that have lost,
Yeah.
it's hard to kind of get past that veil of not understanding, And luckily, the people I have lost, it was their time.
Yeah.
But when it's not their time, it's super hard, and I understand, especially because she was someone who clearly wasn't taught how to deal with emotions to begin with, and so now she's faced with this loss that she's never really had to face before because everybody she's known was immortal as well. Um, put those on top of each other, and then you've got Jason over here just telling her how bad of a friend she is for not telling Hades just to let her friend come
Yeah.
back and putting all the blame on her. And she doesn't really know what to do because she's like, well, I could just give up this. I could just give up that. Why am I being selfish to keep my love story with Hades quiet when I could save my friend? And like, you've got somebody yelling at them it's hard, I think, when you've got somebody blaming you for somebody's death when
I
you couldn't
agree. I
really do
mean, like,
better, but you could try your hardest. So like
yeah,
I understand a little bit to an extent about where she was, but I also do think like it's goes back to her being able to manage her emotions and growing up in something that would have been better for her had she been in a normal relationship with her family.
yes. And I agree. I mean, I preface that. I mean, I've lost like grandparents and like people
Yeah.
who it's been their time. I haven't had anyone close to me like anything sudden, but um I do think that, and it's talked about in the book, as that Hades was a terrible support system for her. He is so dissociated from death because he's been around for thousands of years and it's his job to deal with it, that he doesn't consider, oh, maybe I should go like hold her hand.
Yeah.
Like maybe I should be a good boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so Persephone is acting out of grief, but also Hades could have done a whole lot more to make it to where she didn't feel like she needed to go to Apollo out of all people.
I do believe that had the two of them had better communications, a lot of things would have been different in both books, but both of them suck at communication in total. So, I think that had she just told him, because I mean, let's be real, most females aren't going to say what they want because they want them to do what they want them to do without having to tell them what to do.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, that rings true for almost every single female I know in the world. So I think part of it is she wanted Hades to want to be there too to support her, but she wasn't going to ask him to come support her because that's
Yeah.
not something you ask of somebody. So you know, it's just one of those things of learning how to also communicate in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
which neither one of them clearly know how to do.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I've even had that. I'm like, I want you to want to buy me flowers. I don't want
Yeah.
you to buy me flowers because I want you to.
Yes. Or I want you to plan a date night out, not because I tell you I want a date night. I want you to
Yep.
want to take me out on a date night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
Then
Well, Persephone and what is it? Hecates. I always want to say hectate, but there's not a second T.
I say Hecate. I may be wrong.
If
Hecate.
you know how to pronounce that, please let us know.
Let me Google. Let's
But
consult.
I love their little like sessions where they're just like men are dumb.
I do too. It's great.
Because it's just like it's the reassurance that you need, but then she's also like, all right, she does have some good advice in there for when Persephone needs to hear something. And I feel like their friendship is great because she knows that the original allegiance lies with Hades, but she loves Persephone as well. So she's going to give her real advice and not just be a yes man kind of friend.
All right, here we go. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Hecate.
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 Yeah, Hecate.
Hecate. Okay.
Hecate. All right, I was close. Hecate.
You're better than I was.
We gotta love the Google.
That's what Google's for. But I love their friendship. I love her. You get to see a lot more of her and like her magic in the Hades point of view books because they go on little trips together to go punish people who've done bad things.
But I feel like if you didn't read the Hades point of view, you don't see that side of her as much either because Persephone doesn't see that side very much as her.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious to see, once Persephone really fully sees the extent of what she does and what her power is and what she uses it for, how that'll transform because Persephone is very much a thou are mightier than person.
Yeah. Yeah, so they'll get there. They'll figure it out. I mean, she knows she's like the goddess of witchcraft and then also not revenge, but she does punish people.
Yeah.
Like anybody who like wrongs a woman, like she'll go and curse them and she curses the god. Like she's able to curse Zeus. Like she's got power being able to curse Zeus without having like any retaliation. So
But so does
she,
Persephone. Like we learn in this book, she's got some balls with some of those
yes, she
things.
does. And I love that she's coming into them too. They
I
dropped
love that she
hardcore in this
points a
one.
big old thorn right at Apollo's nether regions.
I know. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So more people there. We see more gods in this. We see a little more of Aphrodite, Apollo. Hermes is flying around doing his thing. Um, who else do we see?
I
We
kind of
haven't
loved
met.
Apollo in this. Um,
Hmm.
I loved Apollo in this. I loved the development of his character and how at the end he was like, "Thank you for reigniting me with my lover. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to try to do better." Like, I didn't realize how shitty of a human I kind of was being, or God, I was being. So
Yeah. I
I'm
like
excited to see
Apollo's
how he
character
continues forward.
arc. Yeah. I like his, I think, and it just continues. I mean, Persephone is seen, and they've said it in the books. Like the writing is like, maybe you'll be the one to change us all, like
Mhm.
that kind of vibe of like she's a brand new goddess. She's grown up as a mortal, and she has this outlook that can change the way, because like things are uneasy in the mortal world. Like people are, you see more of the war brewing in the Hades point of view, because Hades out there dealing with all of these demigods who are half mortal, half god. Um, but it's brewing, and Persephone is one that can help them see both sides of the coin.
I want to go into Lucy a little bit.
Lucy.
Lucy.
Lucy. Yes, because yeah, Minthy's still a mint plant. She's still hanging out in the garden.
I love that
But
she's
we're introduced
forever
to
going to be a
Lucy.
heavyweight.
But yeah, so Lucy was Hades' lover approximately 2,000 years ago. And she
Was turned
cheated
into a
on
tree.
Hades. What?
Was turned into a tree.
And was turned into a tree by Hades because he got pissed off that she was not faithful to him. And we later find out with Apollo, which is a whole, that family, man.
Can we just talk about how a lover cheated on her man with his nephew?
Yeah.
Nephew.
The, that is, yeah.
There you go. So Demeter ends up freeing Lucy from
Mm-hmm.
her treedom life of 2,000 years to kind of pry Hades and Persephone apart. And Lucy just stumbles into Hades' life trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah. She woke up like no time had passed. Like she had only been asleep for an hour. But psych, it's been 2,000 years. And yeah, so she lies at first and says that she doesn't remember who freed her. She, just inserts herself into, she works at one of Hades' clubs. Hades gets her an apartment. And Hades, once again, does the dumb man thing and does not give Persephone a heads up. And they get into a fight. Shocker.
They fight a lot in this book.
They do. They got it. They're figuring it out. But so eventually Persephone warms up to Lucy and is like, I will mentor you. And so they become kind of friends, roommates,
Really?
pals, until
Acquaintances.
acquaintances. Yes. Like, what are we? We don't know. But then they go to the underworld ball or something, and Lucy, drugs Persephone and kind of, does she drug her? Yeah, there's something in the wine. And Persephone finds herself in this forest that torments souls by showing them the worst fear. And she sees Lucy and Hades going at it on the ground.
Against the tree.
Under the trees. So many trees. And Persephone wigs out. And that's when Lucy finally reveals that Demeter is behind the entire thing.
But not only does Persephone wig out, she burns the entire forest to the ground. She razes it down
She
and
does.
almost kills Hades and Hecate because she's so mad. And she goes, if you're going to destroy my world, Hades, I'm going to destroy everything you've ever built. And it takes like two of them and her draining herself
Mhm.
of her power because she doesn't know how to control it just yet before they're finally able to subdue her.
Yeah. There's a line where Hecate is like, you used Hades' power against him. No one has been able to do that ever. So we're
I'm
seeing just
excited
how
to see,
powerful
yeah,
she is.
I'm excited to see how her power continues to grow because she talks about how the Olympians could potentially want to get like kill her, kind of her, or if they
Mhm.
want to make her an Olympian, which then would pry
Yeah.
her apart from Hades. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes and how if she can control it and hide it, then she can have
Yeah.
that life that she wants with Hades. But if she can't, ooh, things about to get topsy turvy real quick.
Yes. Things are about to get crazy because eventually, I mean, a lot of people know about her now. So it is just a matter of time before Zeus finds out and is like, all
And
right, we got to figure
multiple
out what to do.
people know her as a
Yeah.
goddess now. You've got Apollo knows her as a goddess. You've got Hermes. You've got Hecate. You've got that janitor. The janitor's gone. You've
Yeah.
got quite a few people know her as a goddess
Yeah.
now.
And if Aphrodite knows, her husband knows. And like, it's
All
a,
her roommates know, all like 6,000 of them.
yeah. So who's left? Like Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Athena, Artemis. I think that's it.
That's it.
I'm trying to remember because there are a lot of
There's only like five left to go.
not all gods are Olympians. Oh, and Dionysus, he might not know, but then the rest of them, no.
I forget how many
So
gods and goddesses there are until I was reading this. I was like, oh yeah, oh wait, oh yeah.
yeah, because there's 12 Olympians, like the main ones that everybody knows about, but then there's all of these other ones that are still powerful. They're just I don't really know what. I guess I really don't know what makes you an Olympian. I guess just how powerful you are, and if you were Zeus's kid or not.
Mhm.
Because Hades doesn't have any kids, and Poseidon doesn't have any kids that are gods.
I kept thinking in this whole book Persephone was pregnant the whole time because she kept throwing up all the time.
Say that again.
I thought Persephone was pregnant this whole book because she kept throwing up all the time.
Oh, that would have been a twist.
Still can be a twist.
That still could be a twist. That'd be wild. But you mentioned the janitor. Do we need to talk about the fact that she was almost kidnapped?
I just love how she just like ghosted over that one or that one chapter so quickly. Like
I
she
know. Well,
gets
she was kidnapped. It
yeah,
just
well
didn't. It wasn't very successful.
no. Well she quits work because she's so done with Demeter and the bullshit that he is handing her to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Quits work, decides to start her own company, and goes to say goodbye to, I want to say Prithous? Not Prithous. I don't know how to say his name. Do you?
The janitor. I don't know.
Okay. Periithus? I don't know. Anyways, the janitor is a demigod and ends up kidnapping her and taking her to some remote location to where she gets drugged and like tied up against a chair and he's obsessed with her. We find
Yeah.
out it was him that was sending her the roses and the gifts and everything. And he's like trying to talk about how Hades has like done something to make her feel like she's in love when she's not actually in love, and he's over here trying to like pretty much rape her,
Yeah.
and saying like, "Tell me what he does to you that you like that I can do better." And
Yeah.
it ends up that she kills him. Hades comes, brings him back to life, just to tell him that he can't wait to destroy him in the afterworld, and the fates take him. Insanity. Less
Oof.
than 30 pages, I swear, of all of that.
Yeah.
So that was
It is
insane. And
all. Mhm.
surprised it took that long to get one person to finally try to kidnap her because they all still think she's mortal.
Yeah.
Except for everybody that was at Apollo's place twice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, yeah, he just snatches her and they find her immediately.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Furies take his ass down to Tartarus to be freaking tortured for all eternity because you don't mess with the touch her and I'll burn your house down kind of guy. And that is Hades.
Don't mess with the head honchos, people. Come on.
I know. Like, do you really think that was going to go well? Even if Persephone was like, yes, I love you forever and ever, do you really think Hades was going to just like let you do that?
No.
Absolutely crazy. What else happened? They meet the head honcho of the company that owns the news.
Cal Stavros, who
Yes.
is a magi.
Yes.
I don't think we'll really. I feel like he's just going to be a blip unless he goes to the other side to fight against Hades in the next book. It's the only thing I could see him being kind of another big name for. But it, he was just being stupid. He just wanted to blackmail Hades, and he wanted to be the most powerful. Which, in a world full of gods and goddesses, are you really going to try to go up against all of them so that you can be the most powerful? Really?
Yeah, it's
mortal.
I mean, it's how, you stage a coup. It's how regimes crumble sometimes. But when they're gods with powers that they have,
and like
it's going to be a little more difficult. Yeah. But Cal, you do see a little more of in the other. Because he's he does some shady stuff. So that's kind of more Hades territory. So you read about him a little more on the other side. But I think because the fourth book, it is the last book of both series. Like they funnel into that book because you have Persephone and Hades'
point of
view. So I think she does a really good job of mentioning characters everywhere. So even if you only read one or the other, you'll still kind of know who all the players are.
And you do get the point of view of Hades starting into book 4. I have already read the first chapter. So you do get that to start. I know, not bad. For everybody listening, if you have Kindle Unlimited, all of these books are free right now on there.
Woo!
Free books.
Love it. Wait, so have you already finished this one? The next one?
No. Okay. I just started it today.
Yeah, I'll finish it. By next week, of course.
I got a long drive on Thursday night. I'll be reading.
Y'all are driving?
It's like 7 hours.
Is it really? Oh. Why did I think it was farther?
Everybody does. For those listening, I'm going to Wisconsin in a week, or this weekend, which is last weekend for y'all.
Yes. By the time, we're filming this, she's going this weekend. When y'all listen, she will have gone to Land of the Cheese for a wedding. I hope it's great.
But all that is great reading time.
Exactly. See, when we do road trips, I make Zach put his headphones in while he's driving so I can read.
That's funny.
So he can listen to his podcasts and I can,
And then he tries to talk to me every 30 seconds. I'm like, sirs, I'm content over here.
Just shut up. I'm trying to read.
It's true love.
Yes. Oh, and the entire ending of this book, Hades finally proposes and Persephone accepts. And at first it's just like the little cute, like they're alone and they say yes. But then the book ends as Hades slides the ring on her finger and starts snowing.
In August.
Demeter's pissed. And you kind of get what the rest of the series is going to be about because the last line of the book is
we're starting.
it's the start of a war. Yeah. So Demeter's pissed. That's the thing, though. I think with this whole war brewing between gods and the mortals, like some of the mortals or some of the gods are going to fight for the mortals, or are at least going to give them what they need to destroy, because they don't want all the gods dead. They just want kind of the head honchos so they can rearrange how the world's going. So I think Demeter, well, Demeter's going to do this because she's done it before in history. Whenever she gets pissed off and wants to get her way, she starts killing off all the humans with her random season changes. And then the gods have to do what she says because the gods get their power from their worshippers.
Except for Persephone.
Yeah, they talked about it a little bit in the first book about how the more worshippers she gets, the more powerful she gets. And while she doesn't really have any worshippers now, she is coming into her power, but more people know about her. So I don't know if it's just a correlation or a causation. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe not.
We'll see, because it could also just be a mind trick at that point for her.
Yeah. But so it
He's
is
really the only one worshiping her technically still.
Yes, he is.
So,
Yes, he is.
We'll see.
Yeah. This book also has some steamy parts, which everyone enjoys.
All right, if you don't want to share a steamy book with your mom, this is not the series for you two to read together. I give it at least a 2 on the chili factor.
2 out of what?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yeah, maybe you and if you and your mom have that kind of relationship, you do it, girl.
I just started kind of skimming over some of them because, it's the middle of the day half the time. But
Maybe on my lunch break.
lunch break. I'm like, can't read this right now. So if you like steamy smut, this book has a lot more of it. I'm sure we'll get a lot more steamy smut in the books to come as well. But let's just put it this way. Every time they fight, they have to make up somehow.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Every time they fight, you know what's coming next.
I think we all know some of those couples. Sometimes, I think that's why Christopher chooses to poke fun in the mornings sometimes. But
what are you going to do? Teach their own.
Very steamy book.
Yes, very steamy. So I think
not like BDSM, like dirty.
No,
it's just like a normal. Steamy.
It's not a
It's not a 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, it's not a haunting Adeline.
But it
not
is.
Not the ritual type. It's just, these people, these two love each other, and we just get descriptions of what happens. It's fine. It's great.
For all those
if you don't like it, you can skim over it.
They're going to get married.
Yeah, so, and I feel like, there's a decent amount of it, but there wasn't any parts where I was just like, oh my God, it's too much. Like if you're out in public reading it and you skim it or save it for home, but
it was pretty quick, but it was steamy.
Yeah.
But, overall, it was a great book. Really enjoyed it. Flew through it. Super excited for the next one. I'm glad it's free on Kindle Unlimited because I don't have to go find a bookstore with it now.
Yeah, well, I already had them. So, but yes, so the next one is A Touch of Malice. And I'm excited because now there's some blood on the cover. Where I think it's going to get a little dark.
Well, Malice is always dark.
Yeah. Not that the dark underworld is dark, but I think now with the war and where it's just going to get more. Because, like we said last week, the first one was very much kind of like building, telling us who these characters were.
We've had our first 2 character kill-offs now.
Yep. So now we're getting into kind of, the meat and potatoes of it all. And so I think we're just going to get more into that with the next one.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to talking about the next one because I'm excited to see what happens and where gods land on what scale, right? Um, so we'll talk with you next week about the next book. I'm super excited. Kat,
Yes.
have a great rest of your day.
Oh, you too. Everybody listening, have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.